I love to bake, so it's just kind of one of those things that my sister lives in Clayton, California, and she kind of came up, was on the internet one day and found Bakerella.com, and they were featuring these cake pops. So she rushed home, called me, said, "You gotta make them, I'm gonna make them," and we just started, experimenting with them and finding what we like to do best. You just make a regular cake, a 13 by 9 cake, and you bake it and let it completely cool, and then you just put it in a bowl and crumble it into a fine consistency. It will get messy, 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 and you can kind of feel the crumbles get, clumpy, and then you just add your frosting. The recipe that I have calls for a whole container of frosting for one 13 by 9 inch cake, but I have found that is way too gooey, so I just use a spoonful or so, and then you just mix it all together. So once it gets to be Play-Doh like, you can mold it into whatever shape you want. Mold all those shapes, then you're going to lay them on a waxed lined cookie sheet and then put them in your freezer so they freeze, and I like to let them freeze overnight. And you're going to get your candy melts, which are flavored colored chocolate. You have to melt your candy melts. You put them in the microwave for about 30 seconds, and then you stir it up to make sure they're the right consistency. Then that once they are kind of, I like to say if they're dripping off of your spoon and kind of making like a little lines in the candy melt itself, then you know that it's ready to dip, because you don't want it to be too cool, because it'll just chunk up on your cake pop. And then you're just going to put them right in the center. If you're using a pop, you're going to want to put the pop someplace in styrofoam or someplace where it can dry upright. And once they're dry, you can start the decorating process. And depending on what you want to do, you can use a paintbrush with some light corn syrup to adhere the confetti sprinkles, or you can also use the candy melt itself as acting as a glue, as I've done with the ears for the bunnies, and some of the decals on or some of the sprinkles on the eggs. I think that they're just unique right now, and I know that the world of cupcakes is huge right now, so I think this just kind of is a little branch off of the cupcake trend right now, and having them, whether they're on a pop or they're on a bonbon style. I just kind of like the uniqueness of it. We all kind of like cake, and it's cake and frosting all in one bite, with a chocolate coating. So it just is a good mix, and I think it's just kind of a fun spin-off to a piece of cake.